Today I'll be talking about the 5 worlds that I do not want to see return in Kingdom Hearts 4. Starting off the list, we have Wonderland. Now, Wonderland was never my favorite. The story was not as interesting as it was, for example, in a world like Halloween Town. But my biggest issue with the world is that the overall navigation and the layout are just so confusing, and it's extremely easy to get lost. Another major issue is the 500,000 billion and 3 versions of one fucking room. And don't even get me started on finding the right one for the current objective in the world. You have to be in that specific version of a room to actually get the game going and to actually make some progress, and that's a chore of its own. Anyway, moving on. Now, this might be a bit of a controversial one, but I'm not a fan of Pride Lands. Not necessarily due to the world design or the story. The big issue I have in this world is the gameplay. The whole aspect of playing as a lion, it's kinda cool, but I personally am not a fan of it. That said, I have no issue with the world on its own, and the story was cool again, but the gameplay is a decently big turnoff for me. So if the world were to return, I would like us to return there in our normal human form rather than the lion form, just for the sake of being as mobile as I possibly can. For number 3, I have Hollow Bastion. Now, before you attack me in the comments, I specifically meant Hollow Bastion, the way it was in KH1, not Radiant Garden as we see it in Birth by Sleep or KH2 or even KH3. Not that way. That's freaking awesome. So if for some sort of reason it was to get destroyed again like it was at the end of KH1, I would be really disappointed, and since we went through the restoration process in KH2 and helped the town of Radiant Garden so much, I really would not want for that to happen again. We would literally have to go through the entire same situation or restoration process just to restore it, and I love the design of the world and the story. I just don't really want it to get repetitive, and that is why I think we should take a break from it, at least during KH4. Now, it will still probably return due to the significance on the story, but only time will tell. As my number 3 pick, I have Enchanted The Minion. As some of you may know, I was never a fan of this world. The story is nothing special, and while I don't particularly mind it, the big issue for this world is the whole entire atmosphere of it. Now, what do I mean by that? I get that the world is meant to be like this, like sort of gloomy and dark and all that, but I don't know, it never really resonated with me. It's just, again, very dark, very gloomy. The music, while it fits the vibe, is just sort of depressing in a way when compared to other Disney worlds that we see in KH. There is literally not a single thing that I can say that stands out in this world at all, and that pretty much is why it's this far down the list. Now, for number 1, I am 99% sure that you all knew this one was gonna come at some point, and that one being Atlantica. Like me and Blake said in the tier list video,
oh no, just drop it in the trash.
Yeah, this world is absolute freaking trash. Maneuvering this feels like a big fat chore every single time I play through KH1. And while the minigames were kind of fun back in KH2, that's about it. The story is overall mid, and I can honestly compare Ursula to Captain Hook in a way, just because they were both so pathetic and annoying, but Hook was at least a little bit, like comedic, had a little bit of a comedic side to him, was a little bit more of a funny dude. And Ursula is just that fat bitch with the annoying boss fights. That's literally it. And I could look past most of this stuff, but the controls, gameplay, and maneuvering aspects are just so bad, bro. To maneuver through this place, it's so annoying, it's so frustrating at times, and for me, fighting in this world just feels so clunky and awkward. It just doesn't feel right at all. This truly is a world that I would really be annoyed if Square actually made it somewhat mandatory like it was in Cage 1. If it comes back like it was in Cage 2, where it was just a bunch of fun minigames and it was completely optional, I really would not mind. In fact, that would be something that I would be very open to and possibly would even give it a shot at some point. And that pretty much concludes this list of top 5 worlds I would not like to see appear in Cage 4. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments. If you like what I do here on YouTube, consider subscribing and liking this video. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next video stream, bye bye.